It wasn't one bit of Tag's business, but the man had caused him to spill whiskey on his favorite shirt. While he slid off the stool, the jukebox began to blast out Trace Atkins singing "Whoop a Man's Ass." Now that was an omen to Tag's way of thinking, especially when the words said something about cussin' and roughin' up a lady. He took a few long strides and stood beside the bouncer.
"The lady says that she's not going home with you," Tag said. "It'd be wise if you just scooted on out of here." The big fellow put his hands on Tag's chest and pushed.
Tag grabbed for anything that would keep him from falling and got a handful of a shirt. The bouncer fell into the woman, and they fell into a pile. Before Tag could get out of the tangle of arms and legs and find his hat, Scarlett kicked the man in the knee about a half a dozen times. He went down like a big oak tree, landing to one side of the pile.
"You bitch!"
he growled as he popped up to a sitting position and grabbed a beer bottle from a nearby table, slammed it on the floor, shattering the bottom half into a million pieces.
"You know that's my bum knee."
He drew back the bottle to hit her with it, but she ducked. The bottle slashed right across Tag's chiseled jawline. Tag had always considered himself a lover, not a fighter, but there was something about his own blood dripping on his new Western shirt that brought out the anger. Then he noticed that his best cowboy hat was now ruined with beer splatter and cast-off blood drops. He popped up on his feet, hands clenched in fists, ready to fight, but the bouncer had brought out an equalizer in the form of a taser. A picture of David in the Bible came to Tag's mind as the man dropped to the floor and began to quiver. Amazing what a rock and a slingshot, or a little jolt of electricity in today's world, could do to a giant. "You've killed my husband! He's got a bad heart!" Scarlett screamed. "I'll sue the whole damn lot of you! Call an ambulance!"
"No!"
the big man yelled from the floor, where he was still twitching.
"Take me home. Cops will haul me into jail for assault on that cowboy."
Through a red haze of anger and pain, Tag could see that the bartender was already on the phone. He picked up his hat, settled it on his head, and slipped out of the bar before anyone could rope him into testifying or giving his story.
"Glad I didn't drive my motorcycle tonight,"
he grumbled as he got into his black Silverado. He removed his plaid shirt and held pressure on the cut with one hand while he started the truck engine with the other. The hospital emergency room was the first place he'd checked out when he'd moved to Montague County the previous month. That information was pretty damned important when he lived by the words of his two bumper stickers. One said, "Once a rebel, always a rebel." The other was the title of Tim McGraw's country song, "Live Like You Were Dyin'." He'd barely gotten out on the highway when blood started to seep through his fingertips and drip onto his snowy white t-shirt. He hoped that the doctor would throw some superglue and bandages on it and that it would heal up without too much of a scar. The only parking place he could find was all the way across the lot. By the time he made it to the door in the heat, he was getting more than a little woozy. The walls of the empty emergency room did a couple of wavy spins when he stepped inside. A nurse looked up from the desk and yelled something, but it sounded like it was coming through a barrel full of water. Then suddenly someone shoved him into a wheelchair, took him into a curtained examination area, helped him up onto a narrow bed, and turned on a bright light above his head. He expected to see his whole life begin to flash before his eyes any minute, but instead, Nikki Grady, his sister's best friend, took the shirt from his hand. "Want me to call Emily?" she asked.
"Hell no. Call HUD. His number is on the speed dial on my phone. It's in my hip pocket," he muttered.
"What happened?" she asked. "Looks like you were the only one at a knife fight without a knife."
"Beer bottle."
Tag tried to grin, but it hurt like hell.
"Just glue me up. Give it a kiss to heal it up and call my brother HUD."
"Honey, with this much blood loss and the fact that I'm looking at your bone, it's going to take more than glue and a kiss," Nikki said. Taggart, or Tag as the family called him, was one of those men who turned every woman